Here we are, back at it again in Outworld and Earthrealm, visiting my favorite ragtag bunch of murderous, homicidal, hobknocking rebels. Now, I may be double dipping in another room full of games, but in my defense, they clearly need the help since it's still been years and we've seen nothing. I don't mean to cut the video off within not even 30 seconds of it starting, but it turns out NetherRealm announced Mortal Kombat 12, and they didn't just announce it, they also said it's coming out this year. So clearly, NetherRealm found out the video I was trying to make and tried to stop me from making a better product than them. At least we finally got something. Anyways, I figure let's have a little fun and see how completely shit my takes were within the first 2 minutes of the video. Let's just have fun and laugh at me for the next minute. At this point, I think Jump Force 2 is gonna come out and actually be good before NetherRealm decides to release anything but trolly tweets. The only other possibility is that Ed Boon is clearly having creative issues and writer's block, so I'm gonna have to step in and man the ship on this one as new head of NetherRealm Studios. Now, if you've seen our Marvel fighting game roster, then you should know the drill by this point with NetherRealm titles. And if you haven't, then I'll put a link in the description below. Now, you don't have to watch the video, but also you have to watch the video, because I will be handing out tests in the comments, and if you like what you see in either of these videos, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You already know how this story goes though. Before anything else, we gotta come up with a roster size for MK12. Mortal Kombat 9 had a starting roster of 27 on the Xbox, and 28 on the PlayStation, and since no one is doing console exclusive characters anymore, I hope we can call it a roster of 28. MKX had 24 characters on release, with one of them being a pre-order exclusive. And finally, MK11 had a roster of 25, with one of them being a pre-order exclusive. Simple math, add them up and get an average of 25.667. Now the question is, do we round up or go down to get 25 or 26 characters? Well, lucky for us, I found a bit of a compromise. How about we call it 25 characters free, with one of them being a pre-order exclusive, because I said it once and I'll say it again until I'm tired. NetherRealm are going to be doing a pre-order exclusive. With the roster size handled, we can now move on to the story of the game. I'm telling you, if you haven't watched our last roster video, you should really, because all of this has precedent. You thought I was gonna start listing off characters for no reason? Yeah, that worked for something like Street Fighter or freaking Darkstalkers or whoever. But NetherRealm don't roll that way. They don't go down that street. The elevator don't go to that floor. When you're coming up with a dream NetherRealm game, you gotta take the story into account as much as anything else. So before we can even look at Scorpion over there, first in line, probably ready to be the cover character again, ready to shout, "We're next," or "You're next," in the trailer or something. Now, with the story, I can just start reading off my Mortal Kombat fanfiction, or start talking about the ending of Mortal Kombat 11 with Fire God Liu Kang, or if anything, NetherRealm will probably just make a new boss's story like Chronica, but no, because even before coming up with the roster, I already had a great story in mind. See, when MK11 and MKX were first being hyped up in trailers and soon to release, I was firmly entrenched in the community by that point, looking at prediction videos, guesses at the story and roster, and most importantly of all, what people would like to see out of these games. And more than anything else, the concept I saw being brought up the most was none other than a special little Chaos Realm native. Some of you know exactly who I'm talking about. That's right, it's your boy, Mocat. I'm not gonna keep doing this, but seriously though, I'm talking about Havoc. Of course I'm talking about Havoc. People have been wanting to see this guy like crazy, and he was referenced to death in Mortal Kombat 11 without even appearing. So let's make him the vocal point and main enemy of Mortal Kombat 12. The story about Havoc trying to bring chaos to all of the realms, looking to resurrect Raiko, collect the 6 Kamidoku daggers, destroy Hotaru, and become God. You may ask, what about the ending to MK11 with Fire God Liu Kang and the Great Kung Lao? But you don't have to ignore those events either, and instead use it to help tell your story, like using it to explain why Havoc has never appeared in a game up until this point. You could say that the creation of the new timeline helped form 6 Kamidoku daggers of great power that can give one the power of gods when all collected, and have Havoc learn the power and seek it out. It's really that simple. Now finally, thankfully, We can move on to the roster with our first selections. At the number 1 and the number 2, you already know who we had to show first. That's right, Havik and Raiko. You probably expected a certain other duo in here first, but considering I literally just name dropped both Havik and Raiko when talking about the story, let's just get them out the way now. Havik and Raiko are gonna be the big bad duo of this game. Among the Shao Kahns, Shang Tsungs, Shinnok's, the Deadly Alliance, Havik will finally be our long-awaited villain. The person you battle at the end of the tower. But I know NetherRealm likes to do unplayable OP bosses at the end of their towers, so for that you can simply just have it be Havik with all 6 daggers, and maybe even give him a new form like Corrupted Shinnok. It would be really fun seeing the changes and improvements that NetherRealm could add to Havik and Raiko to make them cooler than they already are. I mean, look at Havik's design, this man is El Jefe, holy shit. Alright, at the 3 and the 4, I mean, this is who you were probably expecting at number 1 and 2, but like I said, I gotta at least keep you on your toes a little bit, because where is the tension? Where is the unpredictability with these choices? Everybody and their grandmother knows that when there's a Mortal Kombat game, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are present. I mean, come on, it's Scorpion and Sub-Zero, the 2 biggest Mortal Kombat characters of all time. If they're not in this game, then it ain't Mortal Kombat. It really is that simple. I'd love to see how this new timeline affects Scorpion and Sub-Zero as well. Maybe Scorpion has already made the change to Hanzo Asashi, or Sub-Zero could still be Bihan as he was never killed by Scorpion. With this new reset and timeline, you could potentially tell brand new stories with some of these characters that we've never witnessed. Also, give Sub-Zero his ice clone back and let him freeze again. What are you doing? What was that in MK11? That's right, our very own Special Forces crew. That's crew spelled with a K, by the way. These guys have been in every game since 9 at this point, so there's no doubt in mine that we'll find them again in this brand new timeline. But I'm not a rapper. We could see a return to form with Sonya Blade, as some of her most iconic moves were gone in MK11. They pulled a Sub-Zero on her. And Johnny Cage, Johnny Cage is already perfect. He was amazing, just perfect to the last minute details in MK11. But somehow, every time I think they've reached that apex with Johnny Cage, they somehow keep doing better and better with him in every subsequent game. I can't even imagine what type of asshat buffoonery they bust out with Johnny Cage in the next game, but I just can't wait to see it. And Jax literally has that dog in him. A classic and loved character that wastes no time and just goes in and pounds ass and chews bubblegum with no bubblegum in sight. Next up is Kung Lao, who I would make the main white meat babyface hero of the entire game. MK11 looked like it was gonna place more of a focus on the great Kung Lao and upgrade the character from perennial sidekick. So let's just do that and finally give Kung Lao the spotlight he's been craving for so long. Whether you decide to use the great Kung Lao like it was foreshadowed at the end of 11, or use the one that we've been accustomed to for so long, it's time for him to step up and become the new hero of Earthrealm and Outworld against the likes of Havik, Raiko, and the Chaos Realm. I've been mentioning him a lot at this point, and for good reason, because what a fire god Liu Kang! Well, he's just gonna fill in the place of Raiden as the Elder God looking to protect the realms and assemble the next generation of legendary fighters and heroes, albeit a bit more hands-off than Raiden, as it seems like Fire God Liu Kang is more powerful than Raiden, so only have him step in when necessary, or if Havik is too powerful with all 6 daggers, send Liu Kang in to shut him down at the end of the story. I haven't been mentioning a lot of new moves either or playstyle, since a lot of characters all play mostly the same game to game, and I am simply not a game developer. But imagine the new moves Liu Kang could receive to reflect his new status of God. Like, imagine the ultra powerful fire and lightning abilities. That shit is tickling my tummy. The thing with Katana is there is a lot you can do with her in the upcoming game that'll still fit in with this story. You can have her retain her Katana Khan status that she earned in MK11, or you can even partner her up with lover Liu Kang as Goddess Katana as they watch over the timeline and realms together, and neither of them would be a bad choice. If you choose to make her Goddess too, you can upgrade Jade much like Kung Lao to the Khan of Outworld and upgrade her from being Katana's number 2 as well. Or I guess if she was Khan, it would probably be with Kodo if they decide to keep that couple canon. Or if Katana remains Khan, you won't really have to change Jade's role too much from all the other games. I can already imagine the dynamic between Kakihiro Kung Lao looking to the Khan of Outworld for help and watching him either bicker with Katana or flirt with Jade. This stuff just writes itself. This is a great time to remind everyone that no matter what, these rosters are meant to be unbiased, unless Moon Knight is involved. Just because I love or hate a character does not mean that it impacts their chances of making it into the game, which is good because I absolutely hate Quan Chi. I don't know why, but I just can never stand him. He looks like such a cow. He looks like a punk, bro. Anyways, he is important because he does form an alliance with Havoc and helps him resurrect Raiko before ultimately being betrayed by Havoc. Quan Chi is an important character in the comics, so he is an absolute must-have in this game, whether you still decide to have Havoc betray him or not. Quan Chi even kills Havoc in the comics, but even without that, you can use Quan Chi to help build up a threatening villainous team with Havoc, Raiko, maybe a resurrected Scorpion if you want to tell that story again, or even the likes of... Segway? That's right. Man, besides Havoc and Raiko, I feel like I've been hitting y'all with some baby picks. People have been asking Natara to be in the game since forever, and there's no secret why. A demon vampire. Who wouldn't want to play as that? And she was in the Mortal Kombat movie, so it's not even like it came out of complete nowhere. She's back in the public eye a little. Natara could have a really dynamic moveset, utilizing the likes of her wings for mobility, and her vampire powers for unique moves that can possibly give her lifesteal along those lines. She's never really been directly linked to Quan Chi, but I say do it here and align her with the likes of Havoc, as there is good reason for her to do so. See, Natara requires the blood of others to win, which gives her good reason to associate with this group. Now I wonder who in Mortal Kombat would be able to supply Natara with the blood she needs in order to live. I think I got it. Segway? Yo, I am just killing it with these segues right now, bro. I am on top, and nobody is above me. Now, you know what? I lied. One person is above me, and that's Scarlet. I absolutely love Scarlet. A female blood ninja. What is not to love? Especially with that suit and that hat. Wow. She even helped Havoc find the Kamidokus in the comics, so it's not random. And it gives Natara good reason to align with them, considering Scarlet's whole power set is commanding and weaponizing the blood of herself and others, which she can just use to feed Natara. Scarlet was also done absolutely dirty in MK11, since she was the worst character, I think, up until this point in that game. So let's make it up to my girl and bring her back for 12. And perhaps bring back her rushdown playstyle from MK9, please. Keeping up with the theme of Havoc henchmen, I have a good segue for this one. I'm sorry, my streak is over. I've got Serena. She was briefly in cutscenes in MKX, so she's not unfamiliar to NetherRealm Studios, but she originated as one of Quan Chi's personal assassins, so that's exactly what we're gonna do with her. You could tell a great overarching story with her throughout the story, where she starts as an assassin before slowly growing and changing from her cold-blooded ways and eventually becoming another heroine for the good guys after she decides to leave Quan Chi and Havoc's group. It was only a matter of time before we got to this one, because I bet there's been one glaring question and omission so far in the roster that you've all been asking about. What's gonna happen to Raiden? Liu Kang basically usurped his role as God, so does he just sit out this game? If it was anyone else, I'd say sure, but this is Raiden. I'm gonna hit y'all with a cute little fun fact that you might not have known about Mortal Kombat. Raiden and Sub-Zero are the only two characters to have been in every single Mortal Kombat game, so we can't just leave them out. No, not even Scorpion has been in every single Mortal Kombat game. I'm pretty sure MK3, the base roster, left them out. Anyways, We've been blessed though, because this is a new timeline, so this gives us the new opportunity to tell a brand new story with Raiden. Or you can just have Raiden remain the same, but just say something like Liu Kang bestowed extended life and lightning powers upon Raiden out of gratitude to keep him fundamentally the same, albeit in a new role. But what could that role be? I'd have Raiden be the martial arts master, the top of the line, and the one who actually helped train Kung Lao and mold him into the hero of Earthrealm. Kinda like how Baraicho was to Liu Kang. Raiden would basically just take Baraicho's place. And if anybody's asking what's happening with Baraicho, Baraicho during this game is gonna be taking a nice long Sunday walk off a high cliff. But just imagine it, Raiden, the martial arts training master, the legendary master whose fighting prowess is second to none. With this role, he can still remain similar to the Raiden we all know and love, and even help him indirectly keep the role of molding the new generation of heroes, as he could be the one training them. I wouldn't just have Kung Lao be his only student though. Segway? Oh yeah baby, we back on this Segway train, and oh yeah, that's right baby, I'm hitting you with all of the sauce. If people were pleading Natara to come back to the games, then they've been foaming at the mouth to see Astra back in any regard. Absolutely cool design, cool backstory, and a fun fighting style. Despite her looks, she's actually a demon from the Netherrealm, which I feel can help add a lot of dynamics to the story, like perhaps Katana or Jade doubting her loyalty once they see other Netherrealm inhabitants like Scorpion siding with Havoc, only for hero Kung Lao to defend her as they are both students of Raiden. And just imagine a shot of Raiden, Astra, and Kung Lao fighting side by side, the students and the masters defending Earthrealm. That sounds absolutely awesome. If there was a selection that I could second guess myself on more, it was Cassie. Cassie Cage's inclusion just by itself kind of muddies up our timeline, as you'd have to theoretically skip a lot of events in order to keep her in the story, like Johnny and Sonya meeting and getting together. But I feel that it's very important to include at least one of the combat kids in this game, because if you keep them out of this timeline reset, it is essentially Netherrealm admitting them as a failed experiment and moving on. The thing is though, the combat kids are cool. Takeda is Kenshi's son, trained by Scorpion. That is just objectively cool. And while Jackie and Kung Lao need work, they still have a lot of promise. But Cassie is the most popular one, so Cassie is the one that gets the ticket into the game. Don't worry though, this won't be the last you hear of them. Wink wink hint hint. A close second to Cassie Cage, because I second guess myself on this guy a lot. Hotaru is another choice I question myself on. Yes, Havoc made it one of his goals to kill this personification of lawful evil, but Hotaru isn't the most exciting character design or personality wise, but if anybody could rehab him to be an awesome character, it's Netherrealm. This also adds to an underrated aspect of our story, which is that we'll finally get some light shed on some of the other realms, like the Chaos Realm and the Order Realm, that we never really get to see in any of these games. There's a lot of potential with this story-wise and game-wise, like brand new unique maps or even areas in the crypt. The heroes can head to the Order Realm in order to gain insight and help on Havoc from Hotaru, while Havoc's squad learns of a Kamidogu that resides in the Order Realm, leading to an all-out brawl and war at the center of the realm. This one took me a while to get to. I feel like I know for a fact some of you guys were absolutely sweating bullets for a bit there. There is zero chance, absolute zero chance that Mileena misses on this next game after the entire drama and uprising that happened when she wasn't on the MK11 base roster. Because if Ed Boon starts getting more death threats because of my roster, and people start talking shit about my roster because Mileena's not on it, I'm gonna have to start throwing soup bones and start boxing people. Hell, I said Jade could be Khan if Katana was Goddess, but you could just as much make it Mileena with Jade as your number 2, or have Jade and Mileena in the middle of a battle for the throne when Havoc decides to attack Outworld when it's distracted most. Mileena was also incredibly underwhelming when she was finally added to MK11, so I want to see a lot of new elements added to her playstyle. Mileena is just that character that breathes a lot of life into the roster and world of Mortal Kombat, so she is a must-have. Am I wrong if I say I think all of us were expecting Ermac to be an MK11 at some point? I mean, they gave him a whole brand new design just to die in the crypt, and it was a really cool design. And then nothing ever came from it. Ermac can fill a lot of roles in this game. You can have him be another minion amongst a group of Havoc, or you can have him realign with Mileena again, which can lead to him having a heroic role, much like the 3D era when he was a good guy, by having him and Mileena help the heroes and defend Outworld from Havoc. Oddly enough, Ermac usually fits into one big role in these games, but now for this game, he could really ease his way into whatever nook you can manage him into. I can see Reptile really in the exact same boat as Ermac. He can fit all the same roles, go through the same developments, or do whatever you need him to, except for one thing. He'd probably be the jobber on either side, whether hero or bad, because let's face it, that's just what Reptile is. Reptile is a loser. He's in the story to lose, spit some acid at you, and lose again. And you know what? I've come to terms with it, and I'm completely fine with it. At least give him a cool design, make him fun to play, and we won't have any issues here. Speaking of jobbers, we got Baraka. But Baraka actually got a bit of an upgrade in MK11, as he was actually taken serious in his role as leader of the Tarkatans. So maybe this could be the start of something brand new for Baraka, and we could see it here. Much like 11, we can see the heroes seek Tarkatan aid in order to battle the forces of Havoc, and then have Baraka either help them or betray them accordingly. Baraka is just a classic and popular character that fans would love to see make a return. I feel like there's one person that everyone's been waiting for patiently, asking themselves, he's coming, right? Well, he's not. Yeah, I feel like we've run our course with Kano, and it's best he sits this game out, at least in base roster. I don't know how many times I can watch Sonya chase down Kano for entire games. It's like the World Warriors chasing down Bison and Shadaloo for 17 games. I'm getting sick of it. The only reason Kano is even in all these games, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys about Kano. The only reason Kano is in all these games since Mortal Kombat 9 and the ones before that is just because he was a legacy character from Mortal Kombat 2 or Mortal Kombat the original. Other than that, he wouldn't be in all these games. But that doesn't mean we can't have Black Dragon representatives like Cabal. He can easily be a hired mercenary by Havoc in order to retrieve the Kamidogus, and everybody loves them some Cabal. He was one of the highlight characters in MK11, and with his fast speed, you know one of those guys, Quan Chi, Havoc, Raiko, whoever, well, Raiko's getting resurrected, but you know one of those guys is gonna hunt him down for his speed so he could get those Kamidogus quickly. Another Black Dragon character in our final roster slot of the game, Tremor's first appearance in MKX was an absolute home run, and I want to see more of the Rock Ninja in future games, and what better way to reward that than with a spot in our base roster. Tremor vs Sub-Zero, Tremor vs Kung Lao, Tremor vs Jax, Tremor vs Ashura. This sounds like some great story fun. And for our pre-order exclusive, this one was a bit of a tough call, but NetherRealm does like to go with bosses for their pre-order exclusive. And on a lot of the dream rosters for MK12, I saw a lot of Onaga. That's right, Onaga is our pre-order exclusive, and I thought that was an absolute great call. To see Shao Kahn's former partner come back after such a long time since his last appearance, now that will really get some people to cough up cash and pre-order the game. We don't have too many powerhouse characters in our base roster as well, so he'd be a unique add and definitely worthy of the inclusion. We got our story, our roster, along with some great dynamics and new rewrites, and all of this is precisely what I would want to see in MK12. Well, that's all I got for you here, so if you enjoy, please be sure to let me know by DLC. Come on, DLC is the best part of these videos, and I left out some great characters, so let's avoid getting the fan base mad at me and draft up some DLC. How are we gonna do it? Well, each NetherRealm game seems to keep adding more and more DLC characters in the roster, and while we never did get that big square for MK11, we did get 12 characters on top of the 26 character roster. So let's upgrade that by 2, add 14 characters from DLC, and create an even and crisp 40 character roster. For the DLC, I will be doing 2 packs of 4, with the last DLC pack containing the final 6 characters. And with that said, let's move on into the first pack. I foreshadowed him earlier, and while he didn't have a proper place in the story or in our roster, I love to see Takeda be added in as DLC where the story doesn't really matter. I was bummed out when he was left off at MK11, and he absolutely deserves to make a return for 12. Like I said earlier, he is the son of Kenshi who was trained by Scorpion. How could you not like the guy? A lot of the new blood that NetherRealm created was left off the roster in favor of long returning characters, and none of them were as popular as Aaron Black, so of course, we've got to add the Gunslinger back in as DLC. Aaron Black is living proof that I am completely unbiased when handling the roster, because honestly, one of my top favorites in MK is none other than Aaron Black. Especially in that stripper outfit. In that stripper outfit, Aaron Black is a top 3. So best believe, if I could've, I would've found a spot for him. But DLC is as good a spot as any. This character would have been extremely tricky to include in the base roster and story, as we don't know where NetherRealm could be headed in terms of their story for Sub-Zero, as he could easily still be Bihan in the story. But like I said, DLC is no man's land for the lore, so best believe I'm throwing him in as DLC. Each pack needs that one truly beloved character that'll get everybody to open up their wallets and buy the pack, and Boone Tobias is a great character to help fill out this pack.
The turtles? Turtles.
Bit of a shock, I know, but each DLC pack for NetherRealm games recently have come with a guest character, so that means they're definitely gonna do it for 12. And with the Ninja Turtles inclusion in Injustice 2, it makes sense to see their arch rival, the Shredder, in a future game. And I feel like he fits the Mortal Kombat universe more than he would the DC, or at least in the Injustice games. Watching him talk down to the realm's greatest warriors, and even going Super Shredder in his moves, or even some fatalities. Not to mention all the possible Turtles references we could see, like the Turtles, Shredder, Krang, and his friendships, fatalities, brutalities, his outro, whatever. You can even add Ninja Turtles inspired skins for other characters. Pack 2 is also releasing with 4 characters, one of them being a special guest character, so let's move on to that. These packs aren't going to be too different from each other fundamentally, so let's get some more NetherRealm new blood in as DLC. This character could only really be in as DLC since I have Katana, Jade, or Melina as the possible Khans of Outworld, meaning that I don't really know what role Kotal Khan could serve in this timeline. I mean, Khan is literally in his name, so if he's not Khan, then hello? Hello? But please, for once, let's make him cool, make him dominant, make him aggressive, make him huge, and make him a force to be reckoned with. Tanya got to watch her MKX DLC cohort Tremor make it into the base roster, so she's probably feeling a little left out. Not to mention her baby boo Melina is also in the base roster, so let's add her in as DLC again, unfortunately, and give her a fun, dynamic playstyle, much like she was in MKX. Like I said, I'm kinda tired of Kano, but he is a legacy character. Yeah, he was in the original Mortal Kombat, so let's add him in as DLC with no story importance in order to appease his fans and acknowledge his importance to the series as the vulgar Australian bastard he is. There's really not much to say on this. Ash Williams was heavily rumored to be in MK11 and was even data mined to be in the game, but I guess all those rumors were false and he just never released. So let's instead bump him into MK12 since there is at least a big possibility and interest for him in a NetherRealm title. 8 characters down, 2 packs down, 26 characters down, roster and story are done, so let's move on to our last DLC pack and our final 6 characters of the video. You know, Triborg was a great character and one that I for sure would have added to save roster space, but I don't know if that character concept and playstyle will ever fit into another Mortal Kombat game that's not like MKX. Oh well, let's add mustard, ketchup, and smoke, keep smoke human, give them some cool sleek ass designs like MK11, and watch the fans throw their money at the screen. Every Mortal Kombat game needs a Shokin. MK9 had Shiva, Kintaro, and Goro. MKX had Goro. MK11 had Shiva. So MK12 should have Kintaro, right? Nah, let's do Goro again. I want to see how the story writers use the new timeline in order to bring Mystique back to Goro as the unbeatable champion of the Mortal Kombat tournament. Even in something as little as intro dialogues and arcade ladders. Goro is at his absolute best as an unbeatable monster, and we have a chance to return him back into that era. Sorry, Kintaro fans. For this DLC pack, we're gonna have 2 guest characters, and our first one, much like Joker, is from the DC universe. But who? We could do another villain again, but I want to mix things up. Ed Boon said they would never do Batman or Superman, so it can't be them, right? Because they would never kill. So who could it be? I've got the perfect one. That's right, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has no issue killing her enemies if need be, which means she wouldn't be out of place in Mortal Kombat, and she is a subtle powerhouse in the DC world with a lot of interesting matchups and interactions with the MK universe. I can see NetherRealm really having fun with this, Johnny Cage flirting with her to no avail, bonding with Sonya Blade over their warrior attitudes and indifference towards Johnny Cage and his playboy attitude, throwing down against Tremor, Onaga, Goro, or being disgusted by the cowardice of Kano, Quan Chi, and others. With stuff like this at your grasp, she's way better than just another villain like Lex Luthor or Deathstroke. Well, this is our last character, and I had to make this one to remember. One that'll get everybody talking. One that the fans will never see coming.
Oh!
The Undertaker. Come on, don't tell me you don't want it. NetherRealm created a mobile fighting game app for WWE superstars on mobile, so they have a history with the WWE. And who doesn't want to see Undertaker using lightning in the darkness to combat the likes of Havoc, Scorpion, or Liu Kang? Have Kane or Paul Bearer show up as assist moves. I would lose myself if Undertaker was announced for DLC. And you can even add skins to other characters of other WWE superstars. Zelina Vega as Jade, Big E as Jax, The Miz as Johnny Cage, or LA Knight as Johnny Cage. Whose game is it, huh? I said, whose game is it? Mortal Kombat is LA Knight's game now. And that is not just an insult, that is a fact of life. Yeah. Something like Io Shirai as Scarlet, Ronda Rousey as Sonya proper this time. Just maybe don't let her voice act the main game thing. You can just get wild with it. Xia Li is literally anyone. She is always called a Mortal Kombat character anytime she's on screen. Just look at the scuffle her and Zelina Vega got into during the Royal Rumble. If that doesn't convince you, nothing will. Give her to Ashra. That would be absolutely awesome. Well, there it is, folks. 40 characters. Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, Johnny Cage, Kung Lao, Jax, Katana, Havoc, Raiko, Scarlet, Quan Chi, Melina, Ermac, Jade, Hotaru, Ashra, Nataro, Serena, Cassie Cage, Raiden, Reptile, Cabal, Baraka, and Tremor. With Onaga as the pre-order exclusive. And then with the DLC packs, we have Takeda, Aaron Black, Noob Saibot, Shredder, Kodo Khan, Tanya, Kano, Ash Williams, Schecter, Cyrax, Goro, Wonder Woman, The Undertaker, and a partridge in a pear tree. Our story, a good mix of returning cast from all the different eras of Mortal Kombat. Maybe this will finally help NetherRealm decide what to do with their games. Or maybe this video will age horribly and they'll announce something like Hello Kitty vs My Little Pony Island Adventure Manslaughter. But either way, it's gonna be a win-win for me. This video took a lot of work and research, so if you enjoyed, please let me know and let's keep it coming for next time. Yeah.